I'm back. Hello and welcome back to my channel. I have been gone from my channel for 16 weeks, like 4 months, because I just had my second baby, which is so weird to think because it feels like forever. So 4 months to someone else, like a 4-month-old baby, seems really little, but to me, it's like he's been around for such a long time. My hair is short. I cut it all off because I was tired of having to constantly put it up so that I didn't get spit up in it. I would rather have my hair down and short than have it long and constantly have to tie it up. So I have short hair now, and I have 2 babies now. I have 2 sons. My older son just turned 2, and my younger son is 4 months. So I am loving this part of my life, and I really want to share some updates about where I've been, how things have been going. I feel like I have too much to say because I've been gone for so long, and I'm really excited to be back. But oh my gosh, like, life is totally different now. There's a reason it took me 4 months to get back on YouTube, because having 2 kids is a big change, and it's amazing, and it makes me want more, but it's also a lot. I mean, you've got 2 kids that you're taking care of. So I am a stay-at-home mom. I'm with my babies all day, every day, and we go out. We go to my older son's little gym class. We go to the park. You might be able to hear my son right now because he is down for nap time, AKA, is he going to nap or is he going to play? We are constantly living in a state of what is happening when he goes down for his nap. But I'm really excited to hop in today's video, so let's just get started. So I'm deciding whether to share my birth story, but I think I'll give you guys kind of like the short version, which will probably still be long. But here's the story of how Mr. Baby number 2 came into the world. So if you didn't know, I used to call my older son Mr. Baby, but of course now he's not a baby anymore. So he is Little Man, and my younger son I call Mr. Baby. These are their internet names because we don't share their faces on the internet and we don't share their names. So Mr. Baby was born on December 3rd, 2023. My sons are 21 months apart. So here's what happened. I woke up at 4-ish in the morning and I was having contractions. They weren't totally regular. Like, they weren't consistent. They were coming sometimes every 5 minutes, every 10 minutes. But I called my mom, she came over because I thought, you know, I think today is the day. And most of the day I was in early labor. Like, I was having contractions, but they weren't regular enough. And then I woke up at about 4 p.m. I had taken a nap, and at 4 p.m. I woke up and it was like every 2 minutes they were coming on and they were really strong. So I told my husband, it's time to go to the hospital, let's go. So luckily my parents and my in-laws were here. So they took my older son and we went to the hospital. They checked me in. They said, okay, you are definitely in labor, and everyone tells you that your second labor is going to be easier and faster, and they are right. It was easier and faster. I had an amazing nurse. So with my first labor, the epidural only took on one side, and I found out this time that it's because I have scoliosis. So I knew I had scoliosis, but I didn't know that that came into play with having an epidural. And when they gave me the epidural this time, I hadn't waited too long. So with the first one, I waited a very long time to get the epidural because I wanted to try to do it unmedicated. This time around, I knew I didn't want to try to have it unmedicated. P.S. That's a whole other discussion. I am a big proponent of getting an epidural if you want one. I don't think there's any shame in it. I think it's really a wonderful thing that we have access to, and it made my labor and delivery so much easier, so much better. It was better for me. I think it was better for the baby. Yeah, we can get into a discussion about that a different time. But this time around, I didn't wait. I came into the hospital, I knew I wanted the epidural, and so they were ready to give me the epidural. So the first time when they gave it to me, it was like an emergency situation. I really didn't know what was going on. This time around, I wasn't in horrible pain yet, so I could be more aware of what was happening. And it was very painful to get the epidural because I have compression on one side of my spine because of the scoliosis, which means that the epidural doesn't take evenly on both sides unless the nurse really helps to distribute it, which the nurse did. She moved me around, she made sure I was positioned so that the epidural would take on both sides of my body, which was incredible because what it meant for me is that I could push and it didn't hurt. Now, the reason I say this is important for me and why I am a proponent of epidurals for people who want them, is that when the first time around, the doctor kept telling me I was bad at pushing. And it was because I could feel what was happening when I pushed. I could feel that I was probably going to get some tearing. I could feel that maybe I was getting hemorrhoids. Like I could feel all of that. And so it made me afraid to push. This time around, I couldn't feel that. I could feel pressure. I could feel that I was pushing, but I couldn't feel the things that would make me not want to push. So this time around, I pushed like for 10 minutes and the baby was born. The first time it took me 2.5 hours. So big difference. Now that also might be because it's a second baby, but I think both things were in play. So I was in labor from about 4 p.m. till midnight, and I gave birth a little bit after midnight. Now, one of the crazy parts of all of this is that my husband got food poisoning. So he went to the bathroom to vomit. I said, I don't think that you should be here while I'm in labor. He agreed. So he went home, and it just happened to be that I had said to him an hour before, I think it might be cool if my mom was here for the birth. She's never been at the birth of one of her grandchildren, and that's kind of a cool experience that we could share. And my husband said, yeah, of course, let's do it, because she wasn't at the birth of my first. And so she came, and because she was there when my husband left, my mom was kind of like my support person. So that was really cool. I had my mom there. The baby was born. It was a super wonderful, easy labor. The rest of the hospital stay was not ideal, did not have the best experience, but we came home, and little man has just had the best approach to having a little brother. We were really intent on having them have a good relationship. It was really important to us. So we read a book called Siblings Without Rivalry before they were born. I read Peaceful Parents, Happy Siblings, I think it's called. I've read a bunch of parenting books because I find them fascinating. And we incorporated some of those things before the baby came home. So we kept telling little man that the new baby was his baby. That was how we communicated that a new baby was coming to the house. It wasn't our baby, it was his baby. And we made sure that when we introduced them, I wasn't holding the new baby and it felt like he was being replaced. The new baby was in his stroller, in his car seat stroller, and I was hands-free. I was able to give my older son a hug, and it felt like, okay, here's a new addition, but you aren't being replaced. And so the transition for the two of them has actually been incredibly smooth, which is such a blessing. Like, my older son loves his little brother, and my younger son loves his older brother. It is adorable to see their relationship. And it's also been really amazing because we've never done screen time. My older son is very good at independent play, and my anxiety before the new baby came about what he was going to do while I was nursing was very high, and it turned out it was really easy. My older son would just go play by himself, or he would read books with us, or maybe sometimes we would watch like a 2-minute Winnie the Pooh short on YouTube together. We never set my son in front of a screen ever by himself. If we ever watch anything, it's as a family. So that we do, I don't know, 5% of the time, but mostly we read books, or he plays, or I narrate while he plays, and my younger son is nursing. One of the crazy things that happened postpartum was I had the worst postpartum contractions. I had a week of postpartum contractions that were absolutely debilitating. I had to alternate taking the highest level of Tylenol you're allowed to take in a day and the highest level of Aleve you're allowed to take in a day. And I also had to sleep with a heating pad on my back. I was waking up at 3 a.m. with these horrible contractions. I would have to get in the shower just to let hot water kind of ease the pain, which did help, but it was like 3 a.m, so I was already exhausted. So next time around, I'm gonna try the after ease drops. I've heard good things about them, but oh my gosh, my postpartum contractions were worse than labor. Like, it was crazy, and I didn't really know about them. So if that's something you've never heard of, maybe be prepared in case it's something that does happen to you. One of the things that I've realized is the first 3 months of any baby being born is the hardest. I have a very clear picture with my older son that the first 3 months, the adjustment to just becoming a mom was so hard. And then it was like I hit that 3-month period and oh my gosh, like completely different. Realized how much I loved being a mom, realized how much I loved playing with my son, and it was a day and night difference. And it was exactly the same this time around. Not that I didn't love being a mom to 2, but the difficulties of that adjustment are the first 3 months. That is the adjustment period where my husband and I are trying to figure out how we work with 2 kids. We like don't ever see each other because the younger one is crying while the older one is doing bath time. It's just like it's a whole thing. And then at 3 months, the younger child, the new baby, kind of figures himself out. Like, he starts putting himself on a feeding schedule. He starts taking naps at more regular times, and he gives himself a bedtime. He starts stretching that first sleep of the night. And so we have our evenings back, and my husband and I can spend time together again. And that was a huge change. And my younger son having more of a feeding schedule meant that it's easier for me to go out with both boys and not feel like, oh my gosh, am I gonna have to nurse? What am I gonna have to do? It just feels much more regulated. For me, any hard thing in life is not as hard when it has an endpoint. When I realized that like morning sickness for me tends to last about 8 weeks, okay, I can work with that. Or the first 3 months of having a new baby is gonna be hard, but at the end of those 3 months, things are gonna ease up. Amazing. I can work with end dates. If I don't know if something is going to end, if I don't think or know when the end point is for something difficult, that is a lot harder for me. So it's been nice knowing, okay, 3 months is the mark, and now I can kind of take that knowledge forward for our next baby and feel like, okay, so the first 3 months are gonna be hard and then we'll get through it. But being home with both boys has been such a blessing. Like being stay-at-home mom life is so fun. I have had such a good time with both boys, taking them out. They're so cute, and I get to have special time with both of them, and that's been really amazing. One of the things that I've learned this time around too, though, is that you can't have a schedule with your second the way that you do with your first, because with your first, it's just them. So you build your life around their schedule. The second, you're still on the schedule of the older child. So he kind of has to sleep on the go, or he won't sleep. Like he has to kind of go with the flow more. And that means there's a lot of times where he doesn't take great naps during the day, which means he doesn't have great sleep at night. I think when you have the time to stress with your first about their schedule and about making sure you get to sleep at night, then you will stress about their nighttime sleep and your nighttime sleep a lot more than when you're like, well, there's no way I'm gonna be able to get them on like a perfect schedule during the day. So there's probably not gonna be a lot I can do about their nighttime schedule, and that's okay. Like, you can survive with less sleep than you think. And once I've come to that conclusion and realized that, then I don't stress about not sleeping as much. If I have to sneak in a nap here and there during the day, it's fine as long as I recognize that it's okay that my son isn't sleeping perfectly through the night. We kind of started having a few nights where he completely slept through the night, and then of course the 4-month sleep regression hits and he's like waking up every hour and a half. So it just is what it is, and I'm okay with it at this point. One of the things that I learned actually from my mom, which was a huge perspective shift for me, was that I was kind of feeling resentful of having to wake up after a bad night of sleep. I just was resentful that I wasn't getting enough sleep. And my mom said to me, but aren't we so lucky that we have so much energy? And the reason that meant so much to me is because my mom is somebody I admire so much, because she has endless amounts of energy to give to her family. She will be the person who is making lunches for everybody and doing the laundry and cleaning. Like, she will do it all even when she's tired. And I'm always wondering how she has that amount of energy. So when she lumped me in with her and said, like, aren't we lucky we have so much energy? It really gave me this feeling of like, wow, I am lucky I have so much energy. So I wake up in the morning and I kind of like shake myself out if I've had a bad night, and I say, isn't it great that I have so much energy that I can take care of my kids? And I do have that energy. Now I'll hit a point in the middle of the day where I'm tired, but thank God that's like usually during the boys' nap time anyway. And so I'll nap myself. And that's been a really nice way for me to approach those times where I'm feeling more tired. Okay, I feel like I just sped talked for however long I just talked at the camera, but I'm back. I'm planning on posting more regularly. I have some content ideas in mind that might be a little bit different than what you're used to here, but I'm really excited. I think that you guys are going to like what I'm talking about. I was actually inspired by my Twitter. So I usually kind of go in cycles where I'm more interested in certain platforms, social media platforms, than others. Like I'll be interested in YouTube, and then I'll be interested in Instagram, and then I'll be interested in Twitter, but not usually all at once. And lately I've taken a big interest in Twitter, which has been kind of on the back burner for a while. And I realized the thing that I was interested in about Twitter was saying things that I think are obvious and that I believe are important, and not really minding if I take flack for it. And I'm excited to do that on my YouTube channel. I want to say the things I know are good and true, and I want to share them, and I want to share my opinions on them. I want to talk about the culture and talk about it from a like common sense perspective. And if it makes people mad, makes people mad. Like, let's do this thing. So I'm really excited to be back. I'm really excited to share more of that kind of content. And keep your eyes peeled because there's gonna be some interesting things coming your way. So thank you so much for watching today's video. Please leave a comment. If you got to the end of today's video, please leave a comment with a flower emoji, your favorite flower emoji, because then I'll know you watched the entire video. And make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!